I just will be addressing the idea of perfection. You see, perfection is a good thing, but I'd rather not begin with the idea of perfection um, when I'm starting out a business or something that I want to get good at. I'd rather begin anyhow I know it's possible and develop in the process and become the better version of myself than the whole idea of perfection. So here are some reasons why I feel perfection in itself may be the sole reason why some people are just stuck in their progress journey. Perfection is an illusion. You see, perfection is most of the time subjective and unattainable. You see, what you may feel like it's perfect today may tomorrow become very, very flawed. You may begin to see that very thing that you saw perfect today as very flawed in the future. So you see, you have no option but just to start out anyhow you know it's possible, and do not even wait for the idea of perfection, because what you may even feel like it's perfect today, tomorrow when you begin to make throwbacks and you'd only find out that all of those your so-called perfection were only just flawed, very flawed, and you begin, because you've grown over time, and you know when someone has grown, where they began from begins to feel like they were never good with what they were doing. So you see, progress only comes through practice. So you cannot make tangible progress when you're not practicing at all. So you cannot just fold your hands and just begin to say, okay, I want to have everything right first before I will begin. In that position, I think you would rather have everything that you had always wanted to have, but you may not even be very good at what you want to begin. So if you'd rather begin with the limited available resources that you have in your position and just begin to work towards perfection, rather than just folding your arms and sitting down and waiting for everything to just fall in place, I think that is not a good idea. Nobody starts perfect. Like every successful person in the world out there, they always had this initial beginning where they never thought they would even scale through the process. You see, try to remember all of the successful people that you've known. Like they always have this brand bringing out a product every year. Okay, let's take for instance like the iPhone. I think the most I can remember is iPhone 6. Yeah, we all can relate to how iPhone 6 was. So iPhone 6 then was the rainy phone. Then whoever that didn't have the iPhone 6 like felt like they were really missing out from luxury. But as the year unfolds, they begin to add perfection to their product. They begin to add perfection to what they are doing. So that is how it is. Like even if we would want to use Facebook as an example, like Facebook 10 years ago doesn't have the same features that we enjoy today, and all of the successful people out there, for them it was a very beautiful beginning, and because of their constant practice of their skill, they begin to add more professionalism to their craft. You should always remember that nobody starts perfect. Clarity comes from taking action. You cannot even understand what you're doing unless you're already starting out. Like someone as a content creator may that is even beginning can say, I just want to hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, and you're still folding your arms and still consuming on social media. Like if you're not starting out, how do you intend hitting all of these targets and aspirations? So it will be that clear to you what you're doing, where what you should put in place to achieve all of these, unless you are starting out already. So when you begin to start, you begin to see what work should be put into your craft to hit your target, to hit your aspirations. You understand? It is only when you begin to take measurable actions that are relatable to your craft, that is when you begin to make progress, right? So if you don't practice consistently, you naturally would not even make any progress. So it is ideal that you start today and build progress gradually by taking measurable actions. And also, fear disguises itself as perfection. You see, very many people in the world, they are poised with this idea of perfection, but to them they don't even know that the whole idea of perfection to them is just fear. So they are always afraid of failing, they're always afraid of judgments from people, like from friends. Like for example, you're going into content creation and you're just like, What if my friend sees me talking to the camera? Like, wouldn't you rather feel like I'm wasting my time, or I should rather be doing something creative with my time? So they are always afraid of judgments. They are always afraid of fear. They're always afraid of judgments. They're afraid of failing, and they're always afraid of not being good enough. You see, but the only real time failure is not even trying at all. Do you understand? So, okay, you can always improve later. Do you understand? So, you should just begin that craft. You should just begin that business. You should just begin to learn that new skill. And when you begin to learn the new skill, begin to take actions that are measurable. You see, you don't really need to get it right. You just need to get it going. What you start imperfectly today can be polished and upgraded as you grow, you see? So the idea of perfection should not limit you to even starting out. So just start out however you feel is possible, and as you grow, you make adjustments and you become an improved version of yourself. You understand? Alright, we're winding up now, and let's go with this. The world rewards consistency rather than perfection. So no one will reward you because you're very perfect. Because everyone even had a very flawed beginning when they were all starting out. So what you'll be rewarded for is your consistency. Like you showing up every day. If it was something like every day, like you were showing up for your channel, your YouTube channel, you're showing up every day, or probably twice in a week or once in a week. Because you're consistent, you build trust in the process, you build an audience, and you build your skill. Also, you begin to impact people over time. You see, that perfect idea that stays in your head does not help anyone. So it is time to bring it out from your head and put it out to action. And it is only when it is in action, when your ideas are in action, that is when it begins to help people. So you cannot just leave your ideas in your head, and just because you are struggling with the whole idea of perfection. So just start out how possible you feel it is, rather than just waiting for perfection, because the world will reward you for your consistency rather than your perfection. As we wrap up now, imperfect starts inspire others. So if you're starting out imperfectly, you'll always have people that are inspired because of your courage, because of your boldness, because of your confidence, whether or not you're getting it right from the beginning, because you're very tenacious and you're just beginning however you feel is possible, and you'll find other people looking up to you as role models. See, when people see you start out pro and improve publicly, they begin to build trust towards you, and with this you become relatable and real. So I think you should just begin to start. And lastly, you miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take. So there is a guy out there that is just starting anyhow he knows it's possible, and in a space of 3 months to 6 months, he's already patterned his way, he's already drafting out his way already, and he's far ahead of you that is waiting for perfection. You're waiting for good lighting, you're waiting for good camera, you're waiting for good sound, you're also waiting for good background. And how are you ever going to get all of these things at once? Probably you may just end up getting them, and the passion again is not there to even begin. So that guy that was using his phone and just beginning to put out content out there, is already ahead of you. So while you're planning to launch out in a grand style, others who started out with less are already ahead of you, learning and growing in the progress journey. So it is better you begin to start now. Kill procrastination. I'm off. I've been talking for a long time.